day, televiewers! Welcome to the 5th episode of Teleturuan for Quarter 1 of English 10. My name is Mark Lester A. Rufino from Science High School. For this episode, we will focus on employing analytical listening in problem solving. Are you listening? Are you still with me? Do you get my point? These are the usual questions asked to affirm if you really are listening to someone. Most of the time, you hear these from your teachers inside the classroom. As students, you are exposed to many kinds of messages. You listen to so many things in school: academic information, rules, instructions, and warnings. You also receive messages through advertisements, gossip, jokes, songs, text messages, invitations, web links, and all manners of communication. You know it's not all the same, but it is not always clear how to separate the truth from the messages that are misleading or even blatantly false. Nor is it always clear which messages are intended to help the listener and which ones are merely self-serving for the speaker. Part of being a good listener is to learn when to use caution in evaluating the messages you listen to. Among the 5 macro skills, of course, we have listening, speaking, reading, writing, and viewing. Listening is the first one that humans learned. As such, it is a familiar part of our everyday experience. Actually, most people spend a large part of their waking hours listening, with varying degrees of attention to language and other stimuli. However, despite the importance of listening, it is not given the attention it deserves. As a matter of fact, many researchers claim that listening is a neglected skill. Due to inability to listen proficiently, communication breakdown occurs. Because many fail to listen critically and analytically, miscommunication leads to other serious problems. It is very much true. Given this scenario, it is truly important that in order for problems to be solved, analytical listening must be developed and practiced. As a matter of fact, there are 4 different ways on how people listen. And these are: number 1, marginal or passive listening. It is also called hearing or auding. The listener hears the sounds often in the background, but simply ignores as he or she is engrossed in another task. Number 2, we have attentive listening. The listener focuses attention and shows interest in what is being said. He or she takes note of the specifics and how they relate to the main points made by the speaker. The third one is appreciative listening. This type of listening gives the listener pleasure, maybe from the humor or the blending of voices in chronic arrangements. Well, for the last one, have you ever had to buy an expensive item, such as a new appliance, a car, a cell phone, a laptop, or a tablet, or an iPad? You probably did some research beforehand and listened closely to the salesperson when you went to compare brands. Or perhaps your best friend is telling you about some medical tests that he or she recently had done. You listen closely so you can help your friend understand her results and the possible ramifications of the findings. Both of these scenarios are examples of analytical or critical listening. So how do we characterize this last type of listening? Analytical or critical listening is listening to evaluate the content of the message. Take note of the keyword to evaluate the content of the message. As an analytic or critical listener, you are listening to all parts of the message, analyzing it, and evaluating what you heard. When engaging in analytical listening, you are also critically thinking. You are making mental judgments based on what you see, what you hear, and what you read. Your goal as an analytic listener is to evaluate the message that is being sent and decide for yourself if the information is valid so that problems or concerns may be solved. The tips on how you can improve your analytical listening skill so you can solve problems and some situations on how you can use your being an analytical listener will be presented after some few reminders from our sponsors.